So Kimberly,
So there's Ken.
video, so
We have got it going now. All right.
thank you.
Look at that.
Thanks. We need the town manager to get the. You did a good job, man. Thank you so much. Okay. Present, we have Lenny, Paul, Tanya, Chris, self Pat. We have a quorum. And Jana is. We think starting from in.
No,
She can't make it.
I don't know how to send her the link.
Okay. To begin with, the call consideration, the old business, the October 14th. 2025 minutes. Paul was. Did a great job preparing as always. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Or anything else regarding those minutes?
I move that we accept them as written.
Do I hear a second?
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or changes? None? It is approved.
Yeah.
Lauren, the town manager, is with us today for, I hope, the whole meeting, but as much as she can.
Yeah.
So you may be able to give us some insights on other things. And feel free to pitch right in as needed.
Here just to say thank you for all you do. You're doing an awesome job. So many things you've been tasked with researching and trying to make our lakes and water quality so much better and improved. So I just wanted to stop by, say hello, and thank you personally, each of you, for all that you do and the time that you donate for the.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hey, Paul.
That's great. I thought we were in trouble, so.
No, of course not. Hi, Lenny. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi there.
Who's that? Is Kimberly here?
Yes.
Yes, I'm via Zoom.
I don't see you. Okay.
There she is. She's a Kimberly.
Yeah.
She's in a closet somewhere.
She's in the closet. Our first order of new business is to kind of recap our November 6th meeting we had with the planning board. Where we went over our normal buffer proposal.
Okay. If 1 second, Pat, I want to apologize. I had said I would zoom in on that, but I didn't. And I'm currently in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we were just before that meeting was about to start. Bart, my wife and I were informed that our flight had been canceled because of the government shutdown. Like 15 minutes before the meeting started, and that we could rebook. And so we were in the throes of trying to rebook our flight while that meeting was taking place. So my
Good.
apologies.
We're glad we have you here now.
You didn't miss anything.
Oh, we did. I got to see it on, on YouTube, so I'm up
Yeah.
to speed.
I watched it as well online.
Chris, you want to kind of lead it off and then we can let everybody
Yeah, I'm not prepared really to
say anything?
to lead it off. I guess the question is, where do we go from here? Sounds like everybody's pretty much up to speed on what happened. I don't know, I guess the motion from George Seal was to study it some more. And is that what everybody would say?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't know. I'm not optimistic that we're gonna come out with any change to the ordinance.
Well, the best in the excuse me, the best and the brightest have already studied it and they don't want to believe that. So
Yeah.
is slanted towards you can do anything you want in your lot and move it ruins the lake, so what can we do?
Yeah, it seemed like George was gonna write something up that would be presented to, I'm not sure, whether the planning board and us on that. And see what jury, he was gonna talk to the town manager and what jurisdiction you would have for that.
There was a legal question.
It was a legal question.
Yeah,
So I think best I could follow up with George and see where he stands with that. But it kind of maybe a little more information of what he's asking for, what the outcome would be.
right. Yeah, I think that,
You recall what legal authority was asking about? Is it the same grandfather issue or something else?
It wasn't regarding grandfather issue. I'm not
no,
quite,
Yeah, it didn't really. It was unclear to me what the issue was, whether it was more the authority to do or.
right, and I mean, I didn't, at that point, I figured that we were heading down the slide, so it didn't really make much sense. I didn't think to debate it much more, but we had a municipal attorney look at that, and give recommended language. So we already did the legal work for
Right.
no avail.
Nevertheless, we didn't get the votes,
No, and I don't know, I mean, we're not gonna get, Craig Alexander's vote, ever. Nick might be on board maybe, but probably not, I don't know about Peter Sargent, I think George.
Chris, could you explain what it is that's specifically George said we should do more research on?
He
he was gonna do it.
He was gonna do it,
He was going to do it. Okay.
yeah. And I'm not sure what that means. I wasn't optimistic that there was gonna be something meaningful coming out of it, to tell you the truth.
Well, let me read. Well, so it's really, I'm still asking the same question. Then what was he going to do more research on? I really don't quite understand.
Neither do we.
Oh, okay. Well, then I feel better then. Okay.
Right, I mean, I don't know, there was a formal motion made. We don't seem to have minutes from that, from the planning board, any more published minutes. There's a recording. Paul looked at the recording, right? Paul, you saw
I
the
did.
report?
I think it's just more pandering.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's maybe the case.
I think that, I think we need to focus, maybe the next thing to focus on is the pesticides and fertilizer. I think they're more open to making a change regarding those topics.
Yeah, maybe they are. I mean, George was pushing that forward, and that's been on the agenda a few times, and I don't think they've discussed it, so I don't know.
Yeah, Nick
Um,
also seemed to be in favor of it, so hopefully that will bubble to the top of their agenda, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a little discouraging from our standpoint. We don't-
Very much so.
Yeah,
So what I'll do is I'll follow up with George
okay,
and see, he was gonna put together a document. See what that entails and share it with everybody.
that would be great, yeah.
So I'll follow up with him. And see what they're thinking of.
Okay.
Kimberly,
Yes.
you had a long list of things, and I'm sorry we had to burden you with so many.
No, that was fine. So here's the update on what I was able to discover. The Rome dock ordinance I sent out via email to the committee members, to all you folks, I think it was yesterday or the day before. There's very little in that document. And most of what was there, I believe, is basically a cut and paste from what the state has. The state does not have a dock ordinance, but they have like guidelines. And I think that's basically what the Rome document was by looking at the two. So I don't think that's a really there's really, I don't think Rome has a dock ordinance as we were possibly envisioning having one. That was my takeaway from that.
Kimberly, excuse me, I didn't see an attachment to your email. Was there, I didn't, you referenced that you had attached the Rome dock ordinance, but I don't see any attachment on that email, and I had responded. Now, you know, sometimes I can't see anything, but
Or did anyone get the attachment or did I make a mistake?
I didn't get it either.
Okay,
don't-
then I will resend that as soon as we get off this call today.
okay, so there was a, so they do have an ordinance, but it's the same as what the state has. What is that in chapter 1000 of the DEP or what?
Let me do this. Maybe I can just send it to you all now. Yes, I can. Hold on just a moment. Sorry, folks.
It's all right.
Hat Chris, Jana. Tanya. I'm in a car at a beach parking lot, so it's a little bit ridiculous.
It's distracting for sure.
Where are you, Kimberly?
I'm staying in Estero, Florida, which is north of Naples, but I'm currently at Bonita Springs Beach.
Okay. Oh, Florida would have been enough, but okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
While we wait, Kimberly, if you have a chance to see what the BLA has done on progress of documenting Belgrade septic systems or
I did.
Where they are with that.
Sure. Give me one moment here. All right, I just sent that to you all again, finally. Yes, in regards to the BLA intern status, Great Pond is, as of 10/25, when I spoke to Bert Langette, Great Pond is done, Long Pond will be completed by January, and Stuart Cole will be entering results into a shareable document. I've reached out to Stuart Cole to make sure that I get a copy of that once that's completed. And it's completed by January. Is that January 1, January 31? I don't know. But once I receive that, I'll forward it on to you folks. And if I don't receive it by mid-February, I'll follow up with Stuart.
And
So that will be the, what's it gonna be? Maybe you can summarize what it's gonna be to go.
I believe the last time we had Britt at our meeting, it was to determine, I think, starting with shoreland and hopefully increasing septic as far as age and what each town has documented, to give us kind of a starting point of what information do we have, what are the age of these septics, so that we have kind of a map at least to move forward and say, this is the information we have, what information do we need? And is this enough to start taking some action on, you know, maybe a septic ordinance or working more towards septic? I know Rome also has a septic group that's working together.
So would it be, do you think like each property would be listed and then it would say, then it would tell us what the documents for each property is, or?
That was my understanding, is that the goal was to understand what each property, especially in the shoreland, has for septic, the age of it, if it has plans on file, etc., as a starting point for, here's what we know, what do we need to do next?
okay.
And this is for all towns, right?
It's for Great Pond and Long Pond.
But for all the towns, not just for Belgrade.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
But it would be the BLA, so it's Long Pond and Great Pond, but not the other lakes.
That's correct, yes. It would just be for Great and Long because it's BLA.
Now, I was told, or we heard, that the other lakes are all going to be done within the next year. That's what Seven Lakes has said. We'll
Oh, great.
see what actually happens.
Great.
So-
last thing that I'm sorry, did anyone have any other comments about the BLA work?
Yeah, that's great.
That's good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was impressed. The last status update I have for you folks is in regard to the mooring ordinance. I said that I would reach out to Lorna and understand where we stood on that. I just sent that email to Lorna yesterday morning. Haven't received a response, of course. But what I sent Lorna was the letter from the state that was saying what they don't agree with or what they're concerned about. And also, Andrew had followed up, my husband Andrew had followed up with her a while back to say, basically, if they only have concern A, can we remove concern A and the rest of the ordinance would stand? And it looked as if Lorna and Hans said that, yes, that would be the case. I don't want to put words in Lorna's mouth until I have heard back from her.
No, I spoke with Hans today
Oh, great.
to refresh my understanding. So he said that basically we would be enforcing one mooring per lot. And then one for a swim platform or wharf, so there are 2 total per lot. And he assured me that we have many who have more than 2. So,
But that's not what we passed. Where's Hans come up with that? We based it on frontage, right?
this is based upon what the state allows. I don't have a copy of the mooring ordinance in front of me.
So he's ignoring our mooring ordinance, I guess.
I spoke with him today and that's what he gave me for information, Paul.
Okay,
I'll follow up with him. I'll see him again tomorrow and confirm that.
So if people have 2 or 3 boats, they can't have moorings?
It's supposed to be 2 per lot.
Yeah.
That's 3.
and there's a state ordinance on this?
I believe that
Alright,
states
few
that.
lots.
He just confirmed, kind of going on with what the state already has for this.
Well, let's look it up.
Yeah.
Last,
Anything else on that?
No, that's all I have.
Thank you.
You want-
Next, I spoke with with Hans. I tasked was to ask him whether our change 8 and change 9 of our proposed ordinance changes, how we felt with that, which one was strong, which on just kind of the status of them. His opinion. He said change 8, which I'll just read. No tree cutting is allowed within a buffer without a tree removal permit from the Belgrade Code Enforcement Officer. He agreed with this, said it was good, and he thought we should go to the planning board at our, as soon as we want to on this one. The change 9, which was about the stumps. Now read the language on that. Stumps from removed trees within the shoreline zone may be cut down to ground level, but not below, except for foundation excavation or as permitted by the planning board. Hans's take was, this is somewhat redundant to the existing ordinance, and he thought we wouldn't need this. So that was the 2 of those. Any thoughts? He seemed to be ready to, go right ahead with change 8. He wanted to bring that to the planning board, he could get us on the agenda. Then we have change 13, which we've already got approved, which was all permits issued by the town for properties within the shoreline zone require town notification of abutting landowners. Notice will include a copy of the approved permit. Something we want to put that for the voters at the next appropriate time. I'm not sure when that is. But this one, we already have, that's approved by planning board.
So you and I talked about that, and you were gonna talk to Sarah about it, and just rather than we're asking or opening up for discussion, further discussion,
Get us on.
just say just ask it to be moved forward to the vote, right?
Move the vote.
Yeah, because it's already gone through the whole system, right? We don't wanna,
They don't need to really do anything, it's just,
no, we don't dare.
no, it should go. And the town's ready to, at their next,
Right,
at their next town meeting or other. Or other meeting that we're
okay, so we'll talk to her about that.
there, and Lauren.
Yeah.
That was my item.
So, let's see. Kimberly, I never got your email, so
Neither.
I don't know what you're doing there in Florida, Kimberly. Oh, she's not there anymore.
Oh, she's
I don't see her on the Zoom anymore. Okay.
let me look and see if I got it.
Regarding, Hans's.
Yep.
Feeling that. Change number.
Yep, no, I did not get it either.
Okay.
We'll have to put it on.
It says here. Here, read this, I'm not gonna read it, I'm too. Hoarse. It's left up to the municipalities, not a state law on lakes.
Is.
According to AI.
Yeah. And they can't be out more than 200 feet, and that's all it says.
So, okay, so 8, I'm. The thought of going back to the planning board on anything would just turn my stomach, frankly. I don't know.
And then they tried to start the meeting, knowing that you two weren't there, when they saw it was just Jan and I, because they told us 6:30.
Right.
And then I think they were tricking us.
All right, so. Anybody else wanna change 8 forward?
Which is,
What's that?
which is what?
It's the, no tree cutting allowed within the 100-foot buffer without a tree removal permit from the Belgrade.
Yeah, I think we should.
Officer.
I think it'll make a point that we're not going away.
No, this is. Every one of these had a lot of research in it.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah, what's the standard for the permit? I think it's pretty vague.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
I don't know if they have a tree removal permit. In place,
No, I think it's all verbal at this
Yeah.
point.
so this would be the.
The formal,
Formal document that would. Be in the record.
The permit would have to be, the permit would have to be in compliance with chapter 1000 in our shoreline zoning ordinance as it stands.
Yes.
And I think we should put that in the motion and it's gotta be written that way. Sounds like it's at the discretion of the CEO, possibly the way it's written.
What would we have to change? Right now, it says no tree cutting is allowed within the buffer without a tree removal permit from the Belgrade Code Enforcement Officer.
Yeah, but so that, and what basis is the code enforcement officer granting a permit where it's not allowed?
That's all in the ordinance. I think it would just all be. I mean, the ordinance does spell out what you can and cannot cut. Hazard trees.
I don't think you can get a permit to cut a live tree.
Yeah, this, what I just read to you is. Goes on top, it becomes part of the ordinance that already exists.
Right,
It's not wiping that out, it's keeping.
it's just basically. Saying that you need a permit.
Tightening it up.
Yeah.
And then the question is, what does the permit cost? What's the application look like? I mean, that's the question. Are we gonna write that or are we gonna define the cost? Are we gonna let planning board do that? Do they have any bandwidth to
yeah.
do this? I don't know.
I think that's up to the planning board, don't you?
Yes, for the town.
One would-
I'm just saying it reads that I think you should say that the permit has to be subject to law, subject to the ordinances. And just not leave it open. And I'm not sure how this works as a practical matter, because when I had the arborist that, as an expert, come in talking about it, what often happens is, particularly when you have storm and tree damage, trees are removed without even talking to the CEO. Because of, you're sort of opening a can of worms as it's applied.
They're not supposed to be.
Well,
You're not supposed to remove a tree without permission.
For example, if you got a tree that we had recently, and a storm that's on electrical wire and sparks are flying, what are you gonna do? Well, we can't do anything. We gotta call the CEO and get a permit. And I guess a permit means a written document.
Okay, so should we blow this one off or what?
I just think you're asking for a lot of trouble without us, doing a little more work on it.
This is a good, right, you sound like Craig Alexander.
No, but well, the reality, I agree with Paul, but not exactly in the same way for the way he's saying it. There are a lot of people who will, if they have a problematic tree for whatever reason, will just go ahead and take it down without even thinking about the CEO or a permit or the town. They'll say, this tree is causing problems. I'm going to take it down, and they'll just do it.
Right.
That's just the reality. You can, argue whether that's the right thing to do or not, but I'm sure that happens all the time. There are probably more trees taken down that way than there are legally.
I agree.
I would bet if there were any way to know, but there's no way.
Except I think the arborists know what the deal is.
Oh, I'm not talking about arborists. I'm talking about a guy in his own backyard with a chainsaw.
And there are tree cutters too, they're not arborists.
Sure.
It's more than that. It's more than that. When people buy a house, they cut down the trees for the view. And that happens all the time. I mean, the arborist, Brian Moore, that I had come in and talk to us, said they advertise. They send direct mailing or advertisement to every new property owner, because that's how they make a lot of money. And it's happening all the time. So I don't know if we're really addressing this by, it's sort of the horses out of the barn, and we're now coming in.
I think you're right, Paul, you look on Facebook, Belgrade or something like that.
I mean, if you cut all the
See all
trees on
kinds of, tree cutters who are advertising, hey, you need some trees taken down for your view, call here. It's
all
out
over
there.
the place. And
I mean,
I've talked to arborists who say they'll call up the CEO and they'll say, I want to cut this down. He says, go ahead, cut whatever you think is necessary, that kind of thing.
yeah,
Well, Gary Fuller used to do that. I don't know that Hans does.
Well, I can bring some people in and tell you about this conversation with Hans if you'd like.
Really?
Yeah.
All right,
You're
good.
getting these mature, and it's a real problem. You're getting these mature pine trees, particularly around where I live, and they're falling down my neighbor had a tree fall on the house and totaled the house.
Yeah, right.
So, I'm looking at it and saying, well, if I got a tree that within a certain range of the house, uh, I want it to be cut down. And I had my arborist come over and he says, well, that one looks bad because it's got a Y in it and it's, and it's expensive. I mean, it's a big commercial
Sure.
and
Yeah, but
safety.
you never know which tree is gonna be the problem. That's the, you
That's,
think.
that's-
You'd
that's
be
you're right.
surprised.
You're totally right, Tanya, on that.
I mean, so you're gonna clear cut your whole lot? I mean, I had neighbors that cut all the trees on their lot, and I lost 60 trees after that.
Just from a blow.
Just from the wind coming down, and the ones in back did not have the root system developed. Looked like pickup sticks. So they've gotta have some trees left.
Okay, so my sense is that we don't want to push change 8 forward.
Work on it, in terms of,
You wanna work
last
on
thing-
it?
what?
Do you want to work on it and rewrite it and make it so you, the way you think it should be? I'm not gonna do it.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, I would be hypocritical if I just said no.
I
Well,
think
I'd
we
like to,
should have a
I'd sort of
permit.
box you in.
I think people should have to apply for a permit if it's within 100 feet of the lake.
Well,
Yeah, in concept, it makes sense. So what does it mean though,
But
Tanya?
Hans an expert on, trees, is he an
Hans
expert on
is,
that? too?
Hans is the one charged with enforcing the ordinance and all of what you can and cannot cut is in the ordinance. And this would be to formalize and make you apply for a permit. But I don't know. And I'm hearing a lot of people say, yeah, it's not a practical situation, and this is good, because you're gonna get 2 or 3 planning board members that are gonna say the same thing, and no effing way do we
We
want
gotta
to.
do what we
make
want
it-
on our land.
Yeah, we're not gonna, I don't wanna tell somebody what they can and cannot do on their land.
They need to do it, they gotta get it
So
done.
I don't know, I mean,
They don't mind getting variances though, cause that's their bread and butter. As they would say.
so, anyway, maybe we wanna leave it, if Paul wants to do something with it, fine, if not.
I mean, the law is we have ordinances, we have a lot on the books, but they're not followed. So, it's, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I know of properties where people are cutting down trees just for the view. I mean, I can take you to properties next to down near me, and they're building a beautiful house, brand new, modern house. But you can see all the stumps in front of the house where they cut them down in the last year or two.
So what you should do, what I would do if I was you, I would call up Hans and say, these people are in violation. And I mean, that's what, we had somebody that cut trees and put in a cantilevered permanent dock right next door to us, right, right over the water, just a beautiful, nice cocktail dock, just like, that's gonna be there forever, like, right, even Gary Fuller took that one out, so.
Oh boy, it must have been bad.
Yeah, it was bad. So that's the deal. You call up the CEO and you complain about it. They should count the stumps. They should fine you for the stumps. They should make you plant new trees to replace that. I mean, the code enforcement officer in Rome, we wanted to cut down a really super ugly birch tree that was right next to our dock. And he was gonna make us plant something else. And a beaver took down my brother-in-law's tree, and he made, who was it, Andy Marble.
Yeah.
So Andy Marble made him plant another one because Jackson Schultz squealed on my brother-in-law to Andy Marble. That's the way it works.
That's the way it
So I don't understand, Paul, you haven't tried to get somebody to enforce the ordinance?
No,
Well, what about your neighbors? Anybody? I mean, this is why we're in this meeting is because all the neighbors rose up on my side of the lake to complain about 142 Woodland Camp Drive and what they've done to their to their shore frontage. And that's why we're here. So I guess, I mean, yes, people cut trees, but you are supposed to squeal on your neighbors and get the CEO to enforce the ordinance. That's the way it's supposed to work, I think. What do you
I
think, Pat? Is that the way it works?
Supposed to.
I had a neighbor move in a new place and they cut down 2 big pines and they were alive. And I came right down to the code enforcement officer and he said they had a permit.
Well, okay, did he give you rationale as to why they could do that?
Nope.
Oh, did you ask him how can they do that?
I
No.
I guess I didn't think, but he said they had a permit. Why? They wanted a better view. One big pines.
Well, I mean, they could be, we had a massive pine, but there was sawdust at the bottom of it and was, in the
Yeah.
process of being killed and,
These 2 were not.
yeah, I don't know.
I guess when we, as a practical matter, we think about this, we don't want it to go to the planning board without and have a sort of a repeat performance is what Chris, you're anticipating,
Maybe they'll be nicer next time.
I mean,
Well,
Within the
Johnny says
no-mow
maybe
zone-
they'll be nicer next time.
Maybe within the
I don't
no-mow zone, we'll have no tree cutting.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, I see this as being the same sort of thing
Yeah.
that, and they've succeeded once with us and they're gonna stuff us again, I would imagine, so I don't know, I'm not thrilled about it.
We can try though. We could try.
If Hans wants to push it forward, that'd be great, but maybe he has more pull with them than we do.
Want me to talk to Hans about?
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, thank you. That might be
How
good.
we present it, what it is, what's the pitfalls of it, what kind of,
Yeah,
is this making a really fundamentally better thing for lake water quality? Or is it marginal?
yeah.
Just some weight on how important it is,
Mm-hmm.
given that how many trees.
I mean, if this were gonna be actually enforced, you'd have to apply for a permit, some kind of application. The CEO is gonna go out and look at it. And then he's gonna follow up and make sure that the substitute trees are additional, saplings planted. But that never happens. Is that gonna happen here? I mean, we're just,
That's the way the ordinance is written.
that doesn't happen. It seems like a lot of this is operating on the old New England adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right, so, I mean, yeah, I think we're right back to there, Paul, I don't know, I'm pretty sure that you can't just cut trees and that most people will obey the law and the replanting, I think, is if there's a certain 250
Yeah.
square foot opening in the canopy and, that sort of thing, which may or may not be the case, so, yeah, anyway, it exists in the ordinance, so I don't know.
I'm just thinking out loud, or not thinking out loud, but then weren't we talking about one point that the issue of trying to photograph lots and use a drone? I mean, so that there's a record of what is on these lots in the town? We talked about that, and is that an effort that can be done?
I almost think that's been done, but I mean,
I think they used to do it on Meslonsky
I've heard about that, I don't know.
years ago.
I think that,
Give a baseball.
I think Colby did something from the shore years ago. But I don't think
Right.
anybody's utilized a drone.
Think what Hans had at his disposal is that old Colby one.
Right,
Or an old one that he looks at, not
Oh,
what
okay,
it is today.
right,
So that might be a good project for,
but that's, I mean, that's a good thing if they've got that.
Yeah.
If he's got that to work with, and he can look back.
He's got a
and
baseline
say
to
that,
work
you know, you had a tree here and where is it now?
he's
Right.
done, I gone in and he
Okay.
showed me that, he said,
Okay.
oh, look at this, I went in and this is how it was before, and they took a tree down and.
Yeah.
So but he's like, I don't know when this is 15 years ago, and that was
So is it, yeah.
10 years ago,
Yeah,
so maybe it might be time for a new
Well, it is,
tree census.
but how do you? How do you fund that?
Yeah,
And is
it's
it-
a-
I mean,
that's
is
the
that-
good thing. But we should find out, I think that people are saying that you can buy a drone for, you know, $1,000, I don't know, I don't do that. But I don't think it's a big financial lift to do what I'm talking about with today's technology, but we should look
No,
into,
no,
will I look into it? Sure, I'll look into it.
Sure. I mean, I know a little bit about drones. To do what you're looking at, you're talking about uh, uh, recording like all the shoreline of the town.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah, you could do it. Well, there are different level. I mean, there are different qualities, or not qualities, capabilities of the drones. Yeah, if you wanted to spend around $3,000, you could get a really nice drone to do that.
okay, so,
I mean, you could do it for less, but a really nice one. There are some DJI drones. And that's kind of the Trump government has been really weird about DJI because it's Chinese. But when they've been making it somewhat difficult to buy their stuff. But if you can get one of their better drones, and I don't mean they're top of the line because those are very expensive, but they're kind of middle of the line drones. They're very, very capable.
so before we talk about which drone to buy.
Yeah, I just want to give you a price range. You can do it anywhere from about $1,500 to $3,000.
Hang on a second. Can I just say, a top-down aerial view, which I assume is why you would get a drone, doesn't really help. If somebody's gonna say, okay, last year, you know, I saw some leads here and now I don't see any leads here. I think from a boat, from the shore, it's a fixed photo every X number of feet. And I'm not sure that's a drone that does that or what, but.
Well, Chris, you could do it both ways with the drone. You could make a complete circuit from above, and then you could do a complete circuit at 20 feet off the water, shooting inland. And you could do that as you would do it as video rather than as discrete photos.
Right, I don't see this being something that we're gonna get the town of Belgrade to do. I don't see it as something we're gonna put in the ordinance. We might, it might be after the septic system situation is addressed, maybe it's a lake association, project. But I don't know, I guess I don't understand. Anyway, I don't understand.
well, if you made this regulation, for example, and you said, when is it gonna be effective? And it would be important to have a record of what exists, whatever the date of the effectiveness of requiring a permit. I mean, you're gonna say, hey, I cut it down 3 years ago, before this law came in.
Well, the law exists, and if you cut it down 3 years ago, and it was, and you didn't have permission to do that. Then you're in violation of the ordinance, and you have been for the last 3 years. Or 10 years ago.
It can't be retroactive, we know that.
We're not talking about, we're saying the permit is a formalization of the current ordinance. But anyway, whatever, I don't,
I guess I'm saying the bottom line is that I think would be would not have a good result at the planning board with the way this is written.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
agree.
So I don't think we should go
But
forward with this.
You're gonna check with Hans, that, I would be willing, if Hans said to the planning board, if Hans put it on the schedule and then Hans led the discussion, saying, I think we should formalize this, then that would be different than me getting up there again and, you know, tripping over my tongue. So I think that might be worth a shot. So Pat's gonna talk
We're
to
gonna talk with,
Hans about it
so he will
and-
take the lead.
and see what he thinks. And if he's willing to take the lead, then I think we're all for it. I would think.
I'll do that. I'll let you know as soon as I get,
Yeah, that's a good point.
right, cause coming from him, that's who they're listening to.
Yeah, they've been pretty deferential to him, so.
That was all I had in the,
So the one thing I've talked to Chris Mullins, the CEO of Seven Lakes Alliance, about a water quality tax program, and I'm got a call next week with Danielle Wayne about it, and that the idea, so that's sort of outside of this committee because it's not really a town committee pushing for a state law. But it would be the concept of trying to structure a program where you could get a tax break if you are something like Lakesmart, but it wouldn't be Lakesmart. So it could be, in my mind, and I need to talk to Danielle about this, but I have land that's in tree growth. And so I need to get my tax break on my woodlot land. I have to have a licensed arborist every 10 years, write a management plan for it. And then we have to apply to the town. And I don't think the town actually sees that plan, but they have to have something maybe from the licensed arborist. So I'm wondering if we can, if there's a licensed somebody about erosion control or whatever. So I'm gonna ask Danielle about that, but that would, in my mind, would sort of emulate what's being done by tree growth. So, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So I'll continue to work on that. And then, you know, if Danielle and I can structure something, then I would then try to maybe get Main Lakes behind it. And you know, we'll see where we can go with it. And then go to Sharon Frost, the representative covering this area, and get her to sponsor legislation on it. So that would be the concept. And then, you know, then we need to get a whole lot of lobbying behind it. So,
it's good to take those first steps, Chris.
yeah, I mean, I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind, and what I'm gonna ask Danielle about is what professionals are out there that could. Basically, you want like a water quality erosion plan for your property. And I would think that if you've done everything you can do. And there isn't significant erosion coming from your property, then you get somebody to write a report, sign off on that, and then you take that and that gives you. I want to say like a 10% discount on your property taxes. But we'll see where that goes.
Chris, isn't it more important to find out whether or not legally, what you have to do to, or whatever proof there may be, whether or not you can get any discount on real estate taxes? And is that done anywhere in Maine? I mean,
No, we've been told clearly that you cannot, under the existing situation, we can't write an ordinance that's gonna give you a tax break. But if we state law, if we create a state law that establishes a new tax preferential treatment program for water quality, then that's what we need.
So maybe it makes sense for us to talk to Sharon Frost or have her come and meet with us on this issue, and then the other issue that Peter Sargent was talking about, whether you can get a state law on a no mow and work on a buffer through the state.
Well, what would, okay, so like change chapter 1000 to do some, to do.
I don't know Sharon Frost, but she's brand new, I guess, and maybe she, it might be worth for us to run by her some of the thoughts we have that legislation that she could carry forward.
Well, I'd like to do that, but I'd like to first come up with a game plan to say, I mean, she's said that she would be interested in introducing legislation that would help us. I think we need to see if we can come up with an idea as to the legislation rather than talking to her first. I would talk to her after we've got our ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Now Janet, just mentioned to me by text that she wants to know if we would consider going to the planning board, not the planning board, the select board. And see what, and have them clarify to us, not to tattle on the planning board, but
To
to
clarify,
clarify to us what they want us to do as a natural resources and make Maine. What's their vision?
We have our vision spelled out in,
Yeah, okay,
you mean,
what broadly,
right,
and it's up to us to figure it out, which we have been doing.
right,
Doing
okay.
this was
So you don't think the select board would be helpful?
not at this point,
Okay.
well, I don't know.
unless you want to do a proposal.
I mean, Lenny, do you have any feeling about how the select board is, are they paying attention to the effort that we're going through, and do you know if they have any opinions?
Well, I know my, let me, let me put my video back on here. Well, I mean, I certainly have discussed this with one of the select board members, who is not terribly surprised. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. What do you mean?
So here, we're trying to say, we wanna make changes to the flooding and zoning ordinance that would better protect the water quality, and our priority is in alignment, I think, with the town of Belgrade, because the tax base of the town is so dependent on the water quality in the lakes.
Sure.
In the town of Belgrade. But the planning board's priority is
Right.
really is different. It's more transactional, having to do with, it's less strategic, more transactional, looking at applications, looking at things, ordinance enforcement, variances, non-conforming
Sure.
structures,
Yeah.
all that sort of thing. So there's so I would, any idea what the planning board, if they're at all looking at this and seeing the struggle that we're having, trying to get strategic things past the planning board, because the planning board, as far as we know, is the gatekeeper, and is there any alternative to the gatekeeper to what we're doing?
No, I can't answer that. I don't know. I can discuss it from that perspective with, with one of the planning board, with one of the select board members.
Yeah.
She was certainly understanding, I think she pretty much understands the issue, but had, did not have any particular insights into the way forward.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, it's not clear to me that they are real, I mean, as the way it is set up now, they certainly are the gatekeeper. I think that what clearly should happen, or in order for us to really move forward, what needs to happen is that they need to be removed from the gatekeeper role. The problem with that is that they can become obstructive when it comes to actually passing the ordinance at the, at the voter level. So we'll see. I can discuss that with her and see whether she thinks it's worth bringing it back up to the full select board.
Isn't there,
Yeah,
isn't that the basic, isn't the basic issue, if you look back at the mission and the way the mission reads what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to work, as I recall, in quote unquote, in partnership with the planning board.
Right, yeah, and they're not really interested in working in partnership with us for
Right.
the reason that Chris just laid out,
So
that they're
why can't we now go back to the select board and explain that in a,
we absolutely can.
I think we should.
We should. Let me just run it by her first and just see what her reaction to that is.
Yeah.
Get a sense. I mean, she has a pretty good sense of the select board at this point, and I'll see, because there are two new people on it who just came on in March, who were completely wet behind the ears, to use an old cliche, and I think they're just now really getting up to speed on operations. So let me kind of run it by her before we decide to actually do that. I think it's probably a good idea, but I don't want to say that for sure until we talk about it.
is it, another question I have, is it a legal requirement if you're gonna make a change in this shoreline zoning ordinance, that it has to go to the planning board first? Or is it just sort of a practice that, I mean, it could go directly to the select board? I don't think there's anything legally that precludes us from going to the
I think
select.
that's a good point, Paul.
What?
I think that's a good point.
it's a good question.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer to that, but I kind of think that they won't. I rather think they won't. The select board, they being the select board, won't act on it unless the planning board has given its stamp of approval. I could be wrong, but I'll talk to her about that.
Yeah, I think that the danger of going to the select board is like you don't like what your manager says, so you go to your manager's boss, and that's a sure recipe to get your ass kicked. So that's the danger.
Well, I think that okay.
Is Lana still there? I can't see. Is Lana still here?
What Lenny's looking at is just feeling it out, not
Yeah.
making a proposal.
No, I'd say feel it out, absolutely. Let's see if we can get the sense of the temperature on it, and
I also mentioned it to a select board member,
Yeah,
probably the same one.
they'll feel it out,
Yeah,
lay the land with them.
Fine.
I mean, we don't want the lakes to go down the tubes because we have a couple of members of the planning board don't agree with the rest of the town.
don't agree with science.
Yeah,
I mean, that's.
So
that's-
is it really just because of is it just because of what Craig and who else is it on planning board?
Yeah, he's probably not gonna, I mean, and this is a recorded meeting, so, hi Craig. My impression is that, I mean, he basically doesn't believe in the science behind erosion runoff, and I don't think Nick Zaccaro is familiar with the science of development and its impact on lakes, and so there's an education component, and there's a general belief of are scientists on our side, or are they always against us, and we should ignore them.
and they're also contractors and builders.
And they're contractors and builders, and so you
Yeah,
get,
sure, right, I understand, yeah.
yeah, so there's a inherent conflict of interest.
And one convinces the other because they know them better.
Yeah, so, and we, if we say the dirty words of Seven Lakes Alliance, then, then, whoa, that's, they don't have much credibility with at least Craig. He's been adamant about that. So, yeah, it's an awkward situation to be in because
Right.
we're seeing the strategic value of doing things. And we're dealing with a tactical body that's the gatekeeper and.
Yeah, and they're like from the last century.
Well, they're just not, you know,
This really isn't their baby.
no, I don't think it is. They're, and we could had a hard time even getting on their agenda or.
Because they're looking at the ordinance, that's all. They don't have to deviate an inch.
We
Yeah.
write reports and we give the reports and they don't.
It's
read
not
the
like,
reports.
I mean, they're not saying to us, if you put this and this,
Yeah,
I mean, like they do all the planning for these people that are getting
Sure.
variances, they go in to tell them what to
do
do.
this and we can approve it. We can, you know, if you move that back over there and that's.
Usually they don't, planning board doesn't do that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I've seen it, different towns.
Yeah.
They, you know, they wanna be. They wanna enforce the ordinances, but they wanna be helpful.
Yeah,
So if somebody was doing something that could easily be fixed, they
Yeah.
could move it like 10 feet this way or all right.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
done.
But why
Yeah.
don't they do that for us?
Well, we're
We're not
changing
the
the
enemy.
ordinance.
it's because this isn't what they do. They
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
they don't actually read. Presentations, think about them. They don't discuss anything outside of the meeting with each other. They
No.
don't discuss it. And they've got, I mean, they're meeting twice a month. You know, on their plate.
Yeah.
They have a lot of deal flow coming through that they have to deal with.
We're pressure too, for these, you know, people's up there, it's a life savings to put in
Yeah.
something and.
Yeah,
you
it is.
know,
Yeah,
Not even,
So,
no, I'm sure it's not.
yeah, but I think what we're trying to do is the death from 1,000 cuts, trying to cut down on the cuts, you know, before our lakes. Go too far and
Yeah.
can't come back, and which is happening in North Pond and East Pond and all sorts of other.
Well, I think we gotta go. I guess I'm personally bothered by the amount of time and energy all of us have put into this. Following the time that we've been appointed to have this mission. And when was that? It's been more than a year, hasn't it? What is it?
Oh, yeah.
I think well over a year.
18 months or so, it's like a
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah.
18 months, you know, we've met every month and it's very frustrating. And I think that has to come across. I mean, sorry.
No, it's true, and I mean, I'm personally am feeling burnt out by this, that I got other stuff going on in my life, it's, yeah, so this is just. One more irritation that I don't need, yeah, I mean, we've been trying to figure out what would be meaningful that we go forward with. I do think septic, I do think we gotta do some things outside of. The ordinance, I think that, if we could get a water quality tax break, you know, system in place, that would be the carrot. That I think people would respond to improve their properties. And do no-mow and better than no-mow, without being forced to do it. So that would be, and the septic thing, if we can then go to people and say, you know, your septic was built before 1975 and we think it's got an issue. And then marry that up with you know, some sort of financing plan or grant program. I mean, that's what we would need, but boy, if you could stop people from pumping sewage into our lakes, then that would be huge, you know, so there's some things we can do. And, you know, we're not gonna just stop because the planning board is.
no, we shift 2 years and go in another direction for him. And run it, so keep banging our heads and, yeah, pick on a couple things like that, Chris. And.
Well, we gotta get some low hanging fruit here.
What's that?
We need some low hanging fruit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We thought we had it.
we thought, well, we actually thought we thought that the no-mow was the one that we wanted to, you know, if we got shot down on tree permits and other stuff, then we'd never get the no-mow done. Now we're not getting the no-mow done, so we'll see. Maybe maybe they'll feel sorry for us and wanna do something, who knows?
we've got 15 minutes left.
Yeah,
Well, I had a question, just an
Yeah.
idea. I,
Oh,
I was wondering, I've seen this situation of how we can make sure that certain things that go in the lake don't go in the lake. And this came up last year when somebody was complaining to me that I have a neighbor who's golfers, and they decided they would put a golf tee on their lawn, and they were using the lake as a driving range. And they didn't care if all the golf balls they had went just stayed in the lake. And I said, it doesn't sound right to me. And then, and I'm not want to squeal on people, but then if you go to replace a mooring today and you hire some people, they come in with a new mooring and new chain and they leave the old one there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the dead moorings are everywhere around us.
yeah.
And we have an island club where if you drive a golf ball off of our dock and heads Blueberry Island, then you get to go retrieve the ball and put it in the island club. But we stopped, I believe we stopped driving golf balls off of our dock. My uncle, when he was, actually, my uncle stopped us from shooting clay pigeons off the dock when he was the president of the BLA back in the '70s, I think it was. But we used to have a clay pigeon launcher down on the dock and shooting clay pigeons. I mean, yeah, what's wrong with that?
Maybe this is a simple, low hanging fruit if we go forward with something, you can't shoot clay pigeons, you can't shoot golf balls, you can't do a few things. But then you gotta find out what the harm is to doing that.
What about firecrackers? And they'll say, what
Firecrackers,
about
the other thing,
firecrackers?
regulating how many firecrackers, you can be done in the holidays. We talked about that too.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any phosphorus impact from, the golf balls, we used to go and dive for them, but you'd hook one out into the deep water and you couldn't go get that because it was probably 30 feet or more.
Those are expensive, good golf balls.
Well, it was, we were,
There's a group of ladies on the Cape I was reading about, that they have a club and they, older women, and they use that for exercise, and there's a lot of lakes on the Cape, and they go through all the lakes and they retrieve all the junk,
really, wow,
cans, bottles,
sure.
knives, things people lost, snowmobiles.
Yeah, well, there's,
Well, we're coming on the point where we're gonna adjourn,
yeah,
for our next meeting. They've got a couple things to do with Hans, that we're gonna run through it. Maybe we can we put a tremendous amount of effort, Chris, you led to. Don't sell yourself short, this was,
here, maybe.
it was really important things, the research, the fact base. So you've done a tremendous job along with the rest of us who pitched in on this. So we may have to have a couple of, changes in where we're gonna focus.
Yeah, I'll continue to report on the tax,
Yeah.
water quality tax program. See if that has any legs to it, if we can figure out how we might structure that. And then Kimberly had, we need to get that ordinance of the Rome ordinance, and then we need to look at the mooring ordinance as well, the dock and mooring ordinances.
Yeah, I remember from the mooring committee, Paul and I were on Lenny. That it was the state overruled, or especially the household ordinance. Now the state has a new some sort of household ordinance town. So I'll follow up on those things.
There is a houseboat law that was passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But whether it's trickled down to the communities, the towns, I'm not sure. But. Paul, do you have anything else, or Lenny?
Oh, well,
No.
the one thing was the notice of violation.
Yes.
We were told that that wasn't our bailiwick and that Lorna's gonna look into that.
Which went to select board. I
Could
think
be,
she said.
the notice of violation, going to the appeals committee,
Yes, she's gonna go to the select board.
she's gonna go to the select board and ask that question. What-
Yes, so Paul had a good idea, she wanted it to, she thought the procedure she prefers and demands as it goes through the select board.
Yep.
Rather than not you did. So,
That's sort of, I don't understand that. I mean, this is an issue that's in this administration part of the shoreline zoning, which is what we already got part of past, the notice thing was administrative too. So it's sort of interesting that it's so discretionary and, with,
Yeah.
I don't get it, but
like the.
so it can go directly so anything can go directly to the select board, I would think.
Well, that is, so maybe we can do.
Yeah, if that's where it goes and if there's an outcome, then maybe we can use that as a pathway for us to get something else changed, but I think that the select board's gonna have a problem if we say, here's the ordinance we want you to change and the planning board doesn't have any input on it. I don't know, that would be difficult, I think, for the select
It
board.
must have been important because she wouldn't have shown up at our meeting.
Well, I think that sort of maybe that.
I mean, it would be, Chris, it would be far a different approach to the planning board if it went to the select board and the select board then said to the planning board that we select board are in favor of it. Now we'd like you to take a look at it as well and vote on it. If it came from, that would be have a lot more power than we have.
You think that's the direction it's gonna go in?
I don't know. We'll just have to observe.
Lenny's gonna do a little.
But that's a good point, Paul, that if they said, we want you to, if we're in favor of a no mow, we want you to write it, something like that.
Maybe they think there's a conflict of interest, Paul.
Well, that's a different thing, so.
Hmm?
Yeah, that's a different matter, I think.
Are we all set?
There's no conflict of
Yeah.
interest. It doesn't affect me.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
No,
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
So,
All those in favor?
Yes.
Done then. Thank you all. Lenny, Paul.
Discouraged.
Right?
We'll keep going.
Yeah,
who's that?
I'm gonna sign off. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, North Carolina.
Yeah.